Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and thank you all for joining me. In today's session, you are going to discover the first 4 of my 7 steps on how to make change last. Also, how to make lasting change, and that is so important. You're going to understand the one crucial first step for lasting change. You are going to learn how to avoid the most common mistake that people make when starting out with something new. You will also learn one key question that you must ask and why this will help you. And then I'm going to share with you some strategies to keep your momentum going. I don't know about you, but after the Chagim, I'm focusing on trying to get back into some semblance of routine. And even though the yeshivas haven't started, the schools have, which is great, but the sooner the yeshivas start, the better. And I'm sure some of you are probably feeling the same. Now, it's a brand new Jewish year, and tonight is also the first of a brand new month. So I'm giving thought to setting new resolutions for myself. And if you're watching the replay, what you are about to discover are timeless gems, regardless of whether that's the beginning of a month or the beginning of a new year, that you can use every day in your life. They've made a massive difference to my life in general, and specifically have been priceless whenever I want to make a new start. I'm always looking for ways to live with more zest, be it physically to have more vitality, emotionally to feel calmer and centered, or spiritually to feel more connection. So these practices have helped many of my patients to stay on track so that they can transform their health and get the energy levels or the breakthroughs in health that they so need. Did you know that about 85% of people fail to follow through on any new resolutions or new goals? Research has proven that it's not because people lack motivation or lack willpower. It's really something else. And this is what I'm going to break down for you in today's part 1. So the obvious question is how to make change stick. Most often, we don't notice change, especially during the first days or weeks or even months. And then, what results is any motivation or determination we had tends to fizzle out. At least that's my experience until I learned and applied what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So really, when things do fizzle out, there are basically 2 options. The first option is become one of the 85% who quit, who failed essentially, or join the 15% success club. This is the choice. So just before we jump into the meat of the topic, I just want to make an exciting announcement for those who haven't heard that I'm going to be continuing the weekly Mind Body Monday session. This is my commitment to you all, to the public, to really advance your health and well-being in the way I can. However, for those of you who want to take a deeper dive with me and have a gut health challenge, a digestion problem of some sort, then you have an opportunity to join a thriving online community and join me in my new gut health program. It's really only for those who want to take a deeper dive to get to the root of gut health challenge problems. It's fun, it's interactive, it's super practical, and you're going to heal yourself from the inside out. So it's not for everybody. It's only for those who want my direct support, my guidance, in a supportive online setting. We're going to go into the specifics, what to eat, what not to eat, the best, gut health strategies that I've learned and applied over the last 30 years. You learn some amazing things to calm your emotions, settle your mind, to relax the gut. Most importantly, also learn how to manage flare-ups, and even more importantly, avoid them in the first place. So if this is for you, just type gut health in the chat and I'll come back to you with some more info afterwards. So it's an 8-week online program with the exact how-tos of doing it with my help and supervision in an online growing supportive community. So type in gut health in the chat and I'll come back to you with more info. So let's get back to our topic, to how to make change last. The first point is understand the first crucial step to make change last. And that must be, in fact, I'm curious, why don't you go ahead and type in the chat, what do you think the first crucial step in making lasting change when you start something new is? What do you think that is? Just type that in the chat. Just going to open the chat here as I see it got closed. Go ahead, type that in the chat so I can see. What do you think? What do you think the first step is? Go ahead, even if you think it's out of order or the wrong step, don't worry about that. Just type in the chat. What do you think the most important thing, if you were telling a kid, like, hey, we can do this together, let's get started. What do you think the most important thing is? Right out of the gate, what would you say? And if you're watching the replay, give it some thought. Don't just think passively. Give it some thought or write it down. Yes, very good. Someone's written down a decision and determination. Excellent. Thank you. Robin's written in, make sure the goal is achievable and reasonable. Outstanding. Yeah, Miriam, you wrote decision, determination. Wonderful. Anybody, something else? I'm going to say those are key and important. And there's something even overarchingly more important. Yes, a decision is absolutely key. And yes, making sure that it's achievable and manageable. What do you think is even more important than that? So I'll take you out of your suspicion for now, your curiosity. And that is really, at least in my experience, to connect to your why. Maybe that's what you meant by, be determined, but I want to get a little bit more granular. What's your motivation? Why is this so important to you? And to really figure out 2 or maybe 3 top reasons for you wanting to achieve that goal, whatever it is, the weight loss, the exercise, the drinking more water, the cutting down of sugar, whatever it happens to be, getting more sleep. Why is it so important? And take a pen and paper. And if you're digital, you can do it digitally, but there's a lot of research about the neurology in the brain when you actually write something down. Write down the top 2 or 3 reasons why what is important to you is important to you. What is at stake if you don't do this? Why is it so important? And what do you gain when you achieve this? You're going to have to think and dig deep. This is what I've found with my experiences. I've tried to start things so many times, fallen off the wagon so many times. And when I started to actually get clear on my why, everything changed. And I'm going to share with you a story shortly. Before I do that, I want to just say that when you connect to your why, you will be able to stay the course, because we all will meet what I call the messy middle. That's when things get, we get slowed up. Either we fall off, we get slowed up, we get distracted. Things are hard. It's not so easy. The determination is fizzled out. But if you have that ACE card of going back to your journal or your notepad on your phone and you see, why is it important? What's at stake? What do you stand to lose if you don't do this? What do you stand to gain when you pull through? What will people say about you when you're successful or when you're not successful? What will you say about yourself when you are successful? Or the self-talk when you're not successful? All these are leverage. The why is giving us leverage over ourselves to stay the course and navigate the messy middle that is as part of the journey. I like to say, when you lose your why, you lose your way. And it's so important to get clear, 2 or 3, if you want more, that's great, and write them down. Let me share with you a somewhat personal story. Every year, close to my birthday, I go for a routine blood test. I have a whole list of things that are not standard tests only. They are gamut, a whole battery of tests that I check. And I went off to have this battery of tests done a couple of years ago. And to my absolute surprise, I found that I had quite elevated glucose levels. And one other marker was also raised, which shows a genetic predisposition to diabetes. Now, this was a little bit of a shocker for me. I'm trying to walk my talk, living my teachings, but yet this is what I experienced. The doctor didn't think there was too much to do about it because it was genetic, and medication was inevitable, he thought. Well, he said. So I'm familiar with some breakthrough research that clearly he wasn't familiar with, and I was not about to educate him. But research shows that only about 20 to 30% of our health is genetically determined. 70 to 80% of our healthcare is based on our lifestyle choices and our nutrition. I'm going to say that again because it gives us so much leverage. 70 to 80% of our health and well-being is up to us, our lifestyle choices, how we go to sleep, what exercise, the food choices we eat, the social environment we hang out in, etc., etc. And this is so important. So here are my first top 3 motivations that kept me going on the course, and I'll share with you what my decision was. My first motivation was that I wanted to demonstrate to myself that this research about the power of nutrition and lifestyle choices was true for me, that genetics wasn't my destiny. The second is I did not want to go onto medication because I see with my patients, it's a slippery slope. With time, they become less effective. Very often there's side effects and things get complicated and can go out of control quite easily. My third motivation was I wanted to put into practice, which I thought I already was, I wanted to put into practice what I'm teaching my patients. And these 3 were my clear whys, and they empowered me to totally eliminate sugar from my diet completely, to ramp up my exercise program, and to focus on getting the sleep I knew I really needed. Track my sleep. I wear a ring when I go to sleep at night. It's a special device that tracks my sleep, my heart rate, my breathing rate, my body temperature, my REM cycle, my heart rate variability, so I can get a real metric on the quality of my sleep. And I know that I had fallen in this way. So these 3 whys gave me the power to stay the course. And after 8 months of being on this program, that my glucose levels dropped to extremely healthy levels, to the extent that the doctor was so curious as to what I did. They dropped down to levels of a 25-year-old. And not only that, that blood marker that showed some sort of genetic predisposition to diabetes had totally normalized. So this was so good for me. But you know what? It wasn't easy. Kids, wife, kids, family, friends, socializing, or having all the yummy foods. And I had to keep pulling my 3 whys out of my pocket and reminding me and written them down why this was important to me. So when I got to the messy middle, I had no problem reconnecting to why this is important to me. So I made sure not to lose my why, so I didn't lose my way. So that is number 1. So number 2 strategy is, well, really number 2 is avoiding a common mistake that I've fallen into many times, and a lot of my patients do as well. And that is, know that you will fall. And most people are really surprised when they fall off the proverbial wagon. We all fall. It's just part of the journey. In fact, when I was taking martial arts lessons, the first thing my teacher taught me was how to get up. Because in all likelihood, if a person is in some sort of incident where martial arts may need to be employed, there's a likelihood one will land up on the floor. And you need to know how to get up, and don't be caught off guard by saying, I'm down, game over. No, I'm down and the game's about to start. That's so important. So part of a successful health and healing journey is to have multiple strategies for when you fall. And here are some of mine, and if you've got others, please write them in the chat. I'm always learning more. I'm always applying more to my life and sharing them wherever I can in my practice. So the first one, and there's no real priority order here. The first is to really catch ourselves playing the black and white thinking game. It's all or nothing. I'm either doing the sugar thing, in my case, or I'm not. So if there's a cheat, or if there's a fall or something, okay, now it's all over. You see, you're never mounted in. All of that is black and white thinking. We catch ourselves at this game and just get right back on, because every little bit counts. The Gemara teaches that Sheva, Yipol, Tzadik, V'kam. The righteous person falls and gets up 7 times. And the Baal Shem Tov teaches that he is a righteous person because he gets up every single time. And 7 is not necessarily the literal number, but it's an infinite number of times it falls, and an infinite number of times on getting up. So we all have that tzaddik, that righteous part in ourselves. When we do fall, it's not all or nothing. It's not black and white thinking. Every little bit counts. In fact, the Zohar Kodesh teaches that there is no good thought in our heart that ever gets lost. So if ever we even have a good thought about wanting to do something or aspiring something, it's all there, always to be accessed and stands in our credit. So black and white thinking is a trap, and it's great to catch ourselves playing the game. I play it too, but I've learned to turn the volume down and just put it to bed. So the second one is how to navigate this course around knowing that we'll fall, the sort of mind or psychological strategies. Don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. 80% could be good enough. Maybe 1% could be good enough, depending on what you're doing. I'll save this example for a later point. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But so that's so important that don't let perfectionism be the enemy of good. 80% is good enough. Just keep going forward. And when you do fall, I didn't say if, when you do fall, instead of beating yourself up, just recognize that you are having a human moment. It's normal. It's healthy. It's part of the course. Falling is the journey, are the stepping stones to get to the other side of the river, of the riverbank. It's just part of the process, and it doesn't mean anything about you. Don't come to any conclusions about yourself or the nature of yourself, the nature of life, the nature of relationships. Nothing to do with anything. It's just part of the course. So don't label yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Just simply remind yourself that you are having a human moment. Be kind, speak kindly to yourself, tons of self-care, self-soothing strategies, compassionate self-talk, and just move on. It's a practice. These are practices, and it doesn't necessarily come overnight. Now, this is really my favorite strategy, and it's really so much about what my life is all about. I call it the 1440 Thrive practice and philosophy. You see, our day is made up of 1,440 minutes. That's 24 hours times 60 minutes each. So instead of seeing our day as one whole conglomerate of 24 hours, you see your day as 1,440 minutes. So I don't believe there's such a thing as a good day or a bad day. I believe that there are good moments and challenging moments, or if you want to say bad moments, but it's not the whole day. There's always good to find. In fact, Shlomo HaMelech himself teaches, on a good day, enjoy. On a bad day, look. It's interesting. On a bad day, he says, look, because if we look deep enough, hard enough, long enough, we will find the embedded good in the situation. Again, this is a training. So the 1440 Thrive philosophy is really about, there are 1,440 minutes in the day. That means there are 1,440 moments to reboot, to restart, to recalculate, to get up again and start again. Just imagine for a moment that you have this beautiful red leather purse and you got $1,440 inside. And some dollars have fallen through a little hole in the purse that you didn't notice. Do you just like discard the entire purse because you lost some money? Or would you rather salvage everything that you have and stop up the hole? Of course you would. So too with changes. We're not going to discard all the good that we've done just because we lost some progress, lost some of the changes we made. Just with a fall, just get up again, start again, salvage what you have, reboot, recalculate, and start again. The option to restart is always available with the next available moment, the next available minute. Let's move on to the third key question you must ask yourself. Before we do this, because this is Mind Body Monday, I'm going to ask you all just to take a nice deep breath up, sit in your chair. There's a lot of information coming your way that has already come your way and still coming. So sit up in your chair. Let's take a couple of nice deep breaths in. So you can either keep your eyes open or close them if you want. But the idea here is just take a nice deep cleansing breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, dropping your shoulders down, feel your back against the back of the chair, and allow your face to soften and relax. And once again, another nice deep cleansing breath in. And this time as you relax, allow your belly to soften and relax. Feel your feet comfortably on the floor. And then you can open your eyes, come back to the Zoom session, recognizing that when you take some slow, deep breaths in, you oxygenate your brain so you can focus, you relax your nervous system so it's more receptive to learn. We calm ourselves down. And it really only takes a moment. And again, it's a practice. Let's move on to strategy number 3. This is the one key question that you must ask along your healing journey. And that question is, what is my next smallest step? It's really about keeping things simple and manageable, staying out of overwhelm completely, not to overthink things. Let me share with you what happened in my clinic. A patient of mine wanted to integrate walking into his lifestyle. So I asked him, what do you need to do? Well, he scratched his head for a while. He said, I need to find my walking shoes. I need to put my walking shoes on. Then put on my sweatpants first, and then my walking shoes. And then I have to find my dry fit shirt. I haven't had it for a while. I'm not sure where it is in the top of the cupboard. Not sure exactly. Then I have to put on a hat so my yarmulke doesn't fly off. And then I have to get an MP3 or my phone and connect it to my Bluetooth. I'm not even sure my headphones are. It was like, whoa. And started to get really complicated, and rightfully so. He got overwhelmed. So I just asked him, what's your next smallest step? What could your next smallest step be? And without battering an eye, he said, he just needed to put on his shoes. Suddenly, the project became so much more manageable that when he realized all he needed to do is to put on his walking shoes, some comfortable shoes, he was already halfway out the door and ready to go on his walk. Keeping it really, really simple and asking this question, what is my next smallest step? We don't overthink it. We stay far away from overwhelm, and I constantly in my mind, I'm asking myself whenever I'm navigating a project or when things have too many parts and I hear in the distance or feel in my body a little bit of overwhelm, I take a nice deep breath in. I'm breathing out, I ask myself, what is my next smallest step? And boom, something small and manageable comes up, and off I go again, not getting stuck in any way. Wonderful. Let's do the fourth strategy to keep momentum going. Remember, this is a two-part series. So I'm sharing 4 today, and in the next Mind Body Monday, I'll share the remaining. So to keep momentum going, this is what I found most helpful for myself, and some of my patients have found this helpful too. And that is to praise your efforts by celebrating your success. We're so hard on ourselves. We're just about go, go, go. And it's so important to take time to celebrate your success. In fact, I created a one-pager of 100 ways to celebrate my success. If you want that, just type that in the chat, and I can send it off to you. By the way, if you're not on the 1440 Thrive WhatsApp group, that's a quick way to get a lot of these resources. But if you want that, you can just send that in the chat. Celebrating success one-pager, I guess you would write. So things like you're doing great, or well done, or yippee. Research has shown that this boosts serotonin levels, boosts dopamine levels. These are our happy hormones. In fact, if you just watch kids playing, and they balance the cards in the card house, or they build a tall card Lego castle, or they did something great, they'll say, "Oh, well done," or "Yippee," or you'll see them celebrate. We kind of lost that spunk and that fun. So celebrating our success is so important. Obviously, share that and celebrate someone else's success. I often give myself a high five, like, "Yay, well done, shkak," or something like that. And it just keeps me upbeat, lighthearted, stimulates those important happy hormones, just keeps the momentum going. Make it fun. The second strategy to keep momentum going is I remind myself it's just for today. So when I took on that sugar-free program of mine, I didn't think about 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or a year or the rest of my life. None of that. Just today. Remember, I connected to my 3 very powerful whys, and I focused on just today. In fact, not even today. Remember, there's 1440 moments in the day. Just this moment, just this meal, just no to this snack. I'm not thinking. I've got my blinkers on like a horse walking through the cobbled streets with his blinkers on, just not looking right or left, going straight, staying focused on my goal, and having fun doing it. At the same time, just focusing on this moment, this meal, this walk, this glass of water. One of my patients who enjoys her morning coffee, which is no problem, but she's not a good water drinker, and coffee does dehydrate. It's a diuretic. So I said to her, what's a good way? What's your next smallest step? There's the question, to get more water in your system. She said, I'm such a bad water drinker. I ignore the question, come back, what's your next smallest step? And she said, you know what? By my coffee machine, I'm going to have my water filter and I'm going to have 2 cups right before I drink my coffee. So I thought, that's a great idea. She sent me a little picture of a water pitcher right next to a coffee machine. She had the Anchor memory device there with a water pitcher, a cup there at the coffee machine. She had 2 cups of water, and at the end of the week, she was 14 cups more. She had drunk 14 cups more water than she would have if she didn't do that. And the end of the 2 weeks, the end of 3 weeks, the end of a month, end of a year, imagine that, how it multiplies just for today. Focus on that. The third the third strategy to keep momentum going is don't only look forwards at your goal. Look backwards and acknowledge your progress as well. This is slightly nuanced and different to celebrating your success, but acknowledging progress. I had a yeshiva student come to see me who was at one point at the top of his his top of his class, but he got totally burnt out. He was landing up sleeping close to 18 hours a day. And when he came to see me, he was weak, he was enfeebled, he didn't have good power concentration, he lost his motivation. So part of his program I built with him was an exercise program, and all he had to do was 3 push-ups a day. And these were modified push-ups against a wall. Very, very simple, very easy. And I even gave him another trick to make it even easier. And he managed his 3. I didn't tell him what his ultimate goal was, but each week when he came to see me, I reviewed his push-ups with him. He was doing better. Then when he got to 7, I showed him how to do a modified easy push-up on the floor, which he did 2 or 3 again. And then slowly just moving forward. We celebrated the success of him, these milestones, not looking at the 50 push-ups I want him to do. He couldn't manage that, but just progress leads to that happiness, that feeling of success, acknowledging his progress, and eventually is able to do 35 full push-ups on the floor within 3 months. It was amazing. And each week I acknowledge his progress, kept him out from looking forward, how many do I have to do? No, just stay with us. You're doing great. Well done. Keep going, reflecting on success. Wonderful. You've all just learned and discovered my 4 strategies to lasting change. Let me summarize those 4 quick, and then I'm going to take some live questions if you have any. The first is connect to your why. When you lose your why, you lose your way. The second is to ask yourself, what is my next smallest step? This keeps things simple, uncomplicated, keeps overwhelm far away, and helps you stay focused on what's your next smallest step for now. The third concept is to know that you will fall. This is totally normal, and recognize you're having a human moment, celebrate your common humanity, and just move on again. Doesn't mean anything about you. And the third are the strategies I've just shared about keeping your momentum going. If you've joined in the middle and you missed my exciting announcement at the beginning, I wanted to share with you that I'll be launching my long-awaited Heal Your Gut program. It's designed for people who want to take a deeper dive with me in healing your gut from the inside out. You're going to learn amazing strategies, tools, and techniques to really learn how to heal yourself from the inside out regarding gut issues. You're going to learn my step-by-step approach in a supportive online community. So if this interests you, just type in gut health in the chat. I will come back to you with more info a little bit later. Thanks once again for joining me on Mind Body Monday. I look forward to seeing you next week. Just remember that Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. Just take one small step to enhance your health and well-being in mind, body, and soul. And I'll see you at next Mind Body Monday.